Okay, this is a video tutorial for my fingerstyle version of UFO's High Flyer. It's I don't know if any of you know how many UFO songs I have on my UFO page, right? My YouTube page, but it was really the first band that I did fingerstyle songs, and in truth, it's probably my favorite hard rock band of all time. So I think I have 20 or so songs, and it's a great band. So if you get a chance, go listen to any of the stuff, especially the older stuff. Schenker was amazing, but not just an amazing guitar player. There was amazing songs written around that amazing guitar playing. So it was really the best. So this song is in A440 tuning. So maybe we can get tuned here.
Tune that thing.
Here's the 6th string. Fifth. Fourth. Third. Second. First. Okay. So, lay down. This is it's a great song to work on your fingerstyle playing if you're pretty new to it, because there's not a lot of crazy left-hand fingerings. Most of the fingerings can almost be thought of as chords. You know, you change from one chord to the other with some real small changes, and it works, and you don't have to memorize. Kind of hard to put into words, but it's on the simpler side. So, you know, let's give it a shot. The intro of the song is this this dyad thing, which is very cool. What it is the best way to learn this would probably be to get the skeleton of this, except get it right, thing first, and then we can fill it in from there. So the first one is it's a G major dyad. The second one is an F sharp minor dyad. The third one is an E minor dyad. Fourth is a D major. Fifth is a C. And then now we're going to repeat the D. Repeat the C. We're going to do a B minor dyad. And then a G5. That's really the shape of the thing, and it's it's a G major dyad, but the major thirds are moved up an octave. You know, so hopefully you saw the chord charts that I put next to those. So I would recommend strongly, before you fill in the picking in between, is to really just memorize that. Over and over. Play that till you can really kind of whip through that without thinking. And then I would add the other notes. Even as it sits, doing it without the other stuff sounds great. You know, so that's cool if you can't fill in the parts in the middle. What goes on while that is happening is play your dyad, then you play the second string and then the third string open. first 4. Simply adding in between each of those dyads. The next 2, you're just going to add 1 note in between the dyads, which is the open 3rd string. Then the next one, you do the C, then you add, the notes in between are the D and the G. So you do the dyad. So if you isolate just those notes that you're playing in between, it's 3, 4. The 5th one is just an open G. The 6th one is just an open G. The 7th one is a D, G, another D, G, and then your G5 that ends everything. So I'll play the whole thing really slow. Hopefully you can make sense of that. So that's the intro, but that gets, they revisit that quite a bit in the song, and it's a very major part of the song. It's probably, 30% of the song right there. After the end of that, there's this little climb, and it's funny because I recorded my fingerstyle version of it probably 4 years ago, so I was kind of relearning it today, and I was doing this. And then I watched the video and I remembered I did the. So it's actually the way it's done the second way. Those are 5ths. Pretty easy to remember because it's the same spacing on your left hand. So you're doing a G note and a D note, 3rd fret of the 6th string, and 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Then you're gonna move that same exact shape up 2 frets. Then you're going to do a B and an F sharp, which is the 2nd fret on the 5th and the 2nd fret on the 1st. Then you're going to move that up 1 fret and then up another. So you got. Kind of hard to throw in there quickly. I did it better when I recorded it. I don't know. I'm out of practice. You can get away with just the single. Still sounds pretty cool. But if you listen to the album, I believe the bass player is doing the bass note, oddly enough. Something like that. The other thing, the other embellishment that I do is on on the D major one, I do a hammer on and a pull off. And that kind of sounds cool. So that brings us right up to the little E minor down climb. It happens in a million songs. It's a G, an F sharp, and an E. It's 3, 2, 0 on the 6th string. And then we get into the verse, and this is where the chords that I alluded to come in. You can play the whole verse, like I said, pretty much out of chords with some simple alterations of those chords. So the first phrase is an E minor. I'm not going to go into every little movement of the what strings I'm picking, because it would just be tedious to have to say what strings to pick. So hopefully this second camera angle, really you can just watch this hand and kind of mimic what's going on here. And the basic rule of thumb, and I just did another video on that, is that for the most part the thumb takes care of the bottom 3 strings. The first finger takes care of the third string. Excuse me, the second finger takes care of the second string, and the third finger takes care of the first string. So you have, for the most part, sometimes you do what's easiest, but if you're doing a bunch of stuff, that way is way more efficient than any other way. So that's all E minor. So then you have a G chord with an open E note on top. And then you're going to drop in this pinky on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, which really is just a different voicing of a G chord. And this gets used a lot in this song, so get used to it. So you have basically it's a D5 chord. It's a D major chord, but you're not going to play the first string. So if you feel more comfortable, go ahead and throw the D major chord down. We're just not going to have any use for the first string in a lot of these. A, B, C, open 2, 3 on the 5th string. C chord. That's a D suspended 2, D, which is a D chord without the middle finger. Open 2nd, E minor. Does that basically twice. It's not much different the second time around. I believe it's pretty much the same melody line. So then you have this little 4-note kind of a down climb, 2nd fret of the 4th string, open 3rd, open 3rd, open 4th, open 3rd. You're going to go into this other fingering of the C chord. You're adding a G note with the pinky on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Still just another voicing of a C chord. D, D suspended. That other voicing of the G chord that we talked about. You play that G chord and then you take that pinky out and expose that open 2nd. Same thing. E minor, A, B, C, C chord, D sus. Back to the. So that's really the whole song. There is a solo. I didn't do the solo section in my original video. I can kind of. I can kind of do it, but it's not in the original version and it's not on the tab, so we'll just skip that for now. If you really want it, I can try to maybe add that at a later date. But that's really the whole song. And so I didn't really mention it, but there is a tab for this. The link for the tab is in the video description. And I think that's it. Oh, hold on, I just forgot. So in this section, there's this little out of that G chord. It's very country kind of feel. It's a hammer-on O2 on the 4th fret, and then the open 3rd, and then the 2nd on the 4th, and then the open 4th. A, B, C. See, I even sometimes I just do the kind of makes a nice fade. Okay, well, I hope that helps. Link to tab in video description. Watch the right hand view to pick out the strings that you need to pick with your right hand, and try to think of it in terms of those chords, and then that way you're memorizing, or you're using chords that you kind of know, or at least know parts of, and then you're in kind of familiar territory, so to speak. Okay, thanks for watching.